Hello my dear students, myself Rita Rani, and today again I'm here with you with a new chapter number 4, Forest Society and Colonialism, from history section of class 9th. This chapter is little bit lengthy, that is why I have divided it into 3 parts. And today I will explain part number 1. But before moving towards the part 1 explanation, I would like to request you all, please subscribe our channel. Press the bell icon for further notifications. If you like this video, don't forget to give your likes and share it also. Thank you. Now let's move to the chapter. Here the chapter starts. Introduction is there. Chapter name is Forest Society and Colonialism. Forest. A large piece of land dominated by a huge number of trees along with wildlife. Society. Those tribal communities who used to live in those forests. Colonialism. A period when Britishers were ruling over India. In this chapter, we will study how colonial government established their power or established their control over the forest. How the forest areas were mapped, trees were classified, plantations were developed. All these things we will study. But before all this, I would like to tell you something else. And this is, my dear students, you know very well that forests are very important in our life. Trees play a very important role in the environment. Nowadays, we all are very much aware with this fact that cutting of the trees can be very much harmful for our environment. We get oxygen from the plants. Greenery is very important in our life. Nowadays, environmental pollution, global warming, we all are suffering from all these things just because of the less number of trees, because we are far away from the nature. But what is the actual reason behind it? This we will study in this chapter. There was a time when the whole world was very much rich in this natural resource. In our India was very rich. Lots of forests were there. But in 19th century, changes started coming in the life of the people. Scientific inventions took place. New inventions were there. Industrial revolution was there. People started shifting from agriculture sector to industrial sector. This was a new era. People started running in the race of progress. Means this is human nature, what we have in abundance. We do not value it. So at that time, we used to think that these forests are useless. At that time, forests were available in large number, and that is why they were cut at a large scale also. So this deforestation started in 19th century. So what were the causes of deforestation? The rise of commercial forestry and how the life of the people was affected with this. These 3 things we will study in this part 1. Let's move for the first topic, that is deforestation. Means when we started going far from the company of nature. When we started cutting the trees for the sake of progress, to meet the requirements of that time's industries. Here we can see the picture. Trees are lying down on the ground. Disappearance of forest is referred to as deforestation. Means cutting of the trees, cutting of the forest, clearance of the forest is called deforestation. What are the causes of deforestation in India? Look at here. Land to be improved. At that time, it was believed that these forests are useless. There is no use of so many forests and trees. We should, at that time, colonial rule was there. So at that time, government thought that these forests should be cleared and that land should be used for cultivation. And if they use this land for cultivation, new crops can be grown up and uh, they can fulfill the requirements, the demands of the people, which were increasing day by day. So to use the land for cultivation, that was also the one reason behind deforestation. Next, building ship. I already told you that new industries were being established. Shipbuilding industry was also one of them. For making the ship, good quality timber was required. And that type of good quality timber was available in abundance in our forest. So to meet the requirements of British industries, in our forests, trees were cut at a large scale. But benefit of these industries was not given to our Indians. They were poor and their condition was same. Trees were cut not for the welfare, not for the progress of our people. They were cut to meet the requirements of British industries. That was the painful thing for Indians. Railway tracks. Wood was needed for railway, like fuel. Coal was used at that time to run the train. Sleepers, for making sleepers, means like railway tracks are laid down and to hold them tightly, sleepers are required and those sleepers are made of wood. Railway lines sleepers which were essential to hold the tracks together. For that also timber was required. To meet that requirement also our forests were cleared. Plantations. Forests were cleared at a large number to establish the plants of coffee, tea and rubber. Means to earn more and more profit. Forests were cleared. But the people, those who were living in those forests, they had to pay the actual cost. And that was the reason people who were living in the forest, they opposed it. Let's move to the next topic. Rise of commercial forestry. Means when this deforestation started, after some time, it was planned systematically. Means British government appointed a forest officer, means Inspector General of Forests in India. New laws were made regarding forests. Imperial Forest Research Institute was established. New researches were done. Now, new strategies were made to implement in our forests. So, what were these? Let's see. British made a German expert, means the first Inspector General of Forest in India was a German, Dietrich Brandis. What was the name? Dietrich Brandis. He belonged to Germany. He was appointed by British government as the Inspector General of Forests in India. Brandis set up Indian Forest Service in 1864. Students, you can mark these dates. I'm showing like 1864. Brandis set up Indian Forest Service. And one more thing, again I'm telling you, Dietrich Brandis, first Inspector General of Forests in India. First Inspector General. Okay. So in 2 points, you can note down, first Inspector General of Forests in India was Dietrich Brandis, and Dietrich Brandis was a German. He established Indian Forest Service 1864, helped to formulate the Indian Forest Act 1865. Imperial Forest Research Center set up in Dehradun in 1906. In which year it was established? In 1906. Where? Dehradun. And what? Imperial Forest Research Institute. That was established in Dehradun in 1906. Where scientific forestry was taught. What is scientific forestry? Scientific forestry means old trees were cut and different kinds of trees were replaced by plantation. Means the trees which were in demand, they were planted and old trees were cut. That was scientific plantation. Means it was a system. Forests with different kinds of trees were replaced by plantation. In forests means trees are grown naturally, but in scientific forestry, old trees were cut and different kinds of trees which were of their use, they were planted. Forest management plans were made by forest officials. They planned how much of the forest had to be cut and how had to be replaced. Means it was clearly decided by the forest management. Means forest management also made by the government, and they used to take decision how much forest should be cleared and how much should be replanted. So the decisions regarding forests were made by forest management. Forest officer was made, forest management was made, forest act was also implemented, as well as forest research institute was also established where scientific forestry was taught. So this was the rise of commercial farming. Some more points are there. Because of this commercial forestry, Forest Act divides forest into three categories. During this rise of commercial forestry, Forest Act forest laws were made, and according to those laws, forests were divided into three categories. Reserve forest, the best forests, which were completely under the control of Britishers, and forest people were not at all allowed to enter those reserve forest. Protected forest, they were also good. Villagers can enter, but with permission. Without permission, they could not enter in those forests also. Village forest means here people were allowed to live, but in those forests, people were suffering from many problems because the things which were of their need, their requirement, those things were not available in those forests. Forest Act, they were now forced to steal wood from the forest. If they were caught, they were punished. Now people automatically, they were forced to steal, or they were forced to take the things which were of their use. But if they were caught, they were punished. Now what was the effect over the life of the people? How people were affected with these new laws? According to the Forest Act, forests were already divided in three categories, and the third one was given to the forest people, where everyday practices of the villages like cutting wood for their houses, grazing their cattle, collecting fruits, and hunting and fishing become illegal. Means the things which were required, the work which we wanted to do, all these things, all those works were declared illegal. So they were allowed to live in the forest, but they couldn't do anything in the forest. It became very difficult for them to survive in those forests. People were forced to steal wood from the forest, and if caught, they were at the mercy of the forest guards who would take bribes from them. And if they tried to steal the things and they were caught by the guards, so to save their life, they had to bribe the guards also. Means their condition was very poor. They were in the worst condition just because of these new forest laws. So that's all for this first part, my students. In this first part, you can prepare the notes. What were the causes of deforestation and how commercial forestry came into existence, and how the life of the people was affected with the new laws regarding forests. This you can prepare. We will meet in the second part very soon. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.